There was a missing man who had gone missing for 2 years. Police were searching high and low for him, when suddenly security cameras caught him walking into a bar and never coming back out. He worked at the local car mechanic shop owned by his father, where he specialized in engine diagnostics. It had been a long week, and John was in desperate need of some relaxation, so he did as he was told and drove home. That was the last time anyone saw him. In his spare time, he liked to hang out with his friends at the bar down the street or go fishing at the lake outside of town. They had exhausted all leads and had nothing new to go on. Could this be the break in the case that they had been waiting for all along? Let's find out. When they looked at the tape, they saw John walking through the door and taking a seat at the counter. He ordered a drink and began chatting with the bartender. After a few minutes, he got up to use the restroom. That was the last time he was ever seen. The only thing that kept them going was the fact that they had received no evidence that he was dead, which meant that there was still a chance that he was out there somewhere. He was an adult and could take care of himself. However, when he didn't show up for work the next day, they began to worry. He had also been spotted talking to a strange woman on several occasions. To find out more, the police decided to set up a stakeout at the bar. They hoped to catch Jane leaving the bar and bring her in for questioning. But they had no idea what they were about to find. The police were beginning to think that John may have met foul play, but they had no evidence to support this theory. They hoped that she would lead them to John, but she had another trick up her sleeve. She claimed that she had only met him once before and had no idea what had happened to him. Police didn't believe her, but they had no choice but to let her go. They didn't have enough evidence to hold her. The police followed her as she drove around the city. She was sitting on the couch when she saw the police and began to panic. She tried to run, but the police were too quick for her. They tackled her to the ground and handcuffed her. Just when they were about to give up, however, a local daycare owner contacted the police to say that she believed she had seen the girl at a local park. She eventually stopped at a house, and the police decided to raid it. The woman who had witnessed the girl entering the car had taken a picture of the license plate. They then entered the room and found John and the girl. John was overjoyed to see the police and explained that he had been kidnapped and taken to the motel against his will. Police were able to track the car to a motel on the outskirts of town. A woman at the park told the police that she had seen the girl enter a car and drive away. Why would John go to a bar that was almost 2 miles away from his house? Everyone was overjoyed to have him back, but no one could understand why he had been kidnapped. The police had solved the case of the missing man and brought him home to his loved ones. As for Jane, she was sentenced to life in prison. And why would he disappear after using the restroom? There had to be more to this story. His father called around his friends to see if anyone had seen him, but no one had. However, when she saw him at the bar, she knew that she had finally cornered her prey. But now that the police had found them, he could finally be reunited with his family. At this point, they decided to file a missing persons report with the local police. She had kidnapped him because she knew that he was an honest and trustworthy person. She had threatened him, saying that she would harm the girl if he didn't cooperate. John had no choice but to agree. She needed someone to help her carry out her scams, and she thought that John would be the perfect candidate. She had been watching him for months, waiting for the right time to strike. Inside, there was a picture of a young girl. The police assumed that the girl must be John's daughter. They had no way of knowing that this innocent-looking child was the key to solving the case. They were about to give up hope when something unexpected happened. This time, they focused on the girl in the picture. They realized that the girl had been in the footage all along. She had been with John when he went into the bar and had left with him when he disappeared. She had found it while cleaning out her late grandmother's house. The police were hopeful that this could be a breakthrough in the case, but they had no way of knowing what secrets the wallet held. He told them that the woman John had been seen with was a regular at the bar, and that he had seen her leave with John the night he disappeared. Her name was Jane Doe, and she was known to frequent the bar. They discovered that she had a criminal history that included fraud, identity theft, and drug trafficking. She was also wanted in connection with a string of robberies that had been happening around the city. The police were starting to think that John had gotten himself into some serious trouble. The police knew that Jane was not John's girlfriend or wife, as he had told the bartender that she was just a friend. But who was she really? And what was her connection to John? The police were finally on the right track. He was the type of person who never caused any trouble and always paid his taxes on time. So when he suddenly disappeared without a trace, the entire community was shocked. This is the story of the missing man who disappeared without a trace. John Smith was your typical small-town guy. It all started one Friday afternoon. John had just finished up a particularly tricky engine diagnostic when his father told him to head home and get some rest. At first, John's family didn't think much of it. The police began their investigation by interviewing John's friends and family to try and piece together what had happened to him. They discovered that John had been acting strangely in the weeks leading up to his disappearance. He had become withdrawn and secretive, and had even sold most of his possessions, including his car and his motorcycle. But other than that, there was no clear indication as to what had happened to him. As days turned into weeks and then months, the police began to lose hope of ever finding John alive. Just when they were about to give up, however, police received a tip that security cameras in the area had captured footage of John walking into a bar and never coming out. The police arrived at the bar and asked to review the security footage. The police were puzzled. As the police continued their investigation, they learned that John had been seen in the bar several times before his disappearance. They went back to the bar and spoke to the owner. With the help of the bartender, the police were able to identify the woman John had been seen with. The police began to dig deeper into Jane's past. But why would a simple mechanic be involved with a dangerous criminal like Jane? After several hours of waiting, Jane finally left the bar and got into a car. When the police entered the house, they found Jane alone. The police began to search the house, but they didn't find anything incriminating. They decided to bring Jane in for questioning. Jane told the police that she had nothing to do with John's disappearance. As the days passed, the police continued to search for John, but they came up empty-handed. A local resident contacted the police to say that she had found a wallet that belonged to John. When the police examined the wallet, they made a shocking discovery. The police went back to the bar and asked to look at the security footage again. The police put out an all-points bulletin for the girl, but they had no luck finding her. The police raced to the park, but they were too late. The girl was gone. However, they did find someone who had seen her. The police were now on the brink of solving the case, but they had no way of knowing where this mystery would lead them next. When the police arrived at the motel, they surrounded the room where the car was parked. The police arrested the person who had kidnapped John and returned him to his family. As it turned out, John's captor was none other than Jane Doe. She had approached him several times before, but he had always been too suspicious and had managed to escape her clutches. Jane had taken John to the motel room and forced him to stay there against his will. He had spent 2 years with Jane, helping her carry out her scams and living in fear of what she might do to the girl. In the end, justice had prevailed. And that is the end of this story. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.